The night was quiet, but the palace was not at rest. King Xerxes had been unable to sleep. As the servants read to him from the royal records, he discovered something that startled him. Mordecai, the Jew who sat at the king's gate, had once saved his life by exposing a plot against him. Yet no reward had ever been given. The king frowned deeply. "This cannot be," he thought. "A man who saved my life deserves honor." Even before the sun rose, a plan was forming in his mind. Meanwhile, Haman had risen at dawn, eager to put his own plan into action. Outside his house stood the enormous gallows he had ordered, towering into the sky. His heart burned with pride and rage. Today, he told himself, Mordecai would be destroyed. He hurried to the palace, eager to speak with the king before the day began. But as he walked into the courtyard, he did not know that the king's heart was already thinking of Mordecai. Not for punishment, but for honor. Haman was summoned into the royal chamber. King Xerxes looked at him and asked, "What should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Haman's chest swelled with pride. "Who could the king possibly want to honor more than me?" he thought. His imagination soared. He answered boldly, "For the man the king delights to honor, let him be dressed in the king's royal robes, place a crown upon his head. Let him ride the king's own horse, with a noble official leading him through the city streets, proclaiming, 'This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor.'" The king smiled. "Excellent. Go at once. Take the robe and the horse, just as you have said, and do so for Mordecai the Jew who sits at the king's gate. Do not neglect anything you have recommended." Haman's heart dropped into his stomach. His face turned pale. Mordecai. He had come to ask for Mordecai's death, and now he was ordered to honor him. Reluctantly, Haman fetched the royal robe and the horse. He dressed Mordecai in the king's garments, placed him upon the royal horse, and led him through the streets of Susa. His voice rang out, though choked with bitterness. "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." Children ran beside the horse, laughing and cheering. Mothers pointed and whispered, "Look, Mordecai is honored by the king." Fathers bowed their heads with respect. Mordecai sat quietly, his heart steady. He knew it was not his cleverness, but God's hand that had brought this honor. Haman, humiliated and burning with shame, trudged through the streets, proclaiming words he did not mean. Every step felt heavier than the last. When it was over, Mordecai returned to the king's gate as usual, calm and steady. But Haman hurried home, covering his face. His wife, Zeresh, and his friends listened as he poured out his misery. "They have begun to honor Mordecai," they warned him. "If this is so, you cannot stand against him. You will surely fall." Even as they spoke, messengers arrived to hurry Haman away to Esther's second banquet. That evening, the royal hall was lit with golden lamps. The tables were covered with fine foods, the air sweet with the smell of roasted meats and spices. King Xerxes reclined at the table. Esther sat gracefully beside him, and Haman tried to smile, though his heart was in turmoil. As they ate and drank, the king turned once more to Esther. "Queen Esther," he said warmly, "what is your request? It shall be granted, even up to half the kingdom." Esther's hands trembled slightly under the table. She had waited for this moment. She lifted her eyes, took a breath, and spoke. "If I have found favor in your eyes, O king, and if it pleases you, grant me my life and spare my people. For we have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and wiped out. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I would have remained silent. But no trouble can equal the loss of my people." The king's face darkened with anger. "Who is he? Where is the man who has dared to do such a thing?" Esther's voice was steady as she pointed across the table. "The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman." Haman's eyes widened in shock. His heart pounded in terror. The room erupted with gasps. The king stood up, his face blazing with fury, and stormed out into the palace garden to calm himself. Haman fell to his knees, trembling, begging Esther for his life. "Please, my queen, have mercy. I did not know." His words stumbled over fear. But Esther's face remained calm. She had placed her trust in God. When the king returned, he saw Haman falling on the couch where Esther reclined. His anger flared hotter. "Will he even assault the queen while I am in the house?" the king roared. At that moment, the king's servants covered Haman's face, a sign that his fate was sealed.
One of the eunuchs spoke. "A gallows, 50 cubits high, stands at Haman's house. He had it built for Mordecai, the man who saved the king's life." The king's eyes blazed. "Hang him on it," he commanded. And so Haman was taken away and hanged on the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. The anger of the king subsided, and peace fell upon the palace once more. Children, this part of Esther's story is powerful. The proud Haman plotted evil, but his plans turned back on himself. Mordecai, who trusted God, was lifted up. And Esther, who chose courage, saw God's faithfulness at work. Sometimes bad people may seem to succeed. Sometimes we may feel small or afraid. But remember this: God sees everything. He is able to turn situations around in ways we could never imagine. As the Bible says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So when you face fear or see unfairness, trust in God. Be like Esther. Be brave. Be like Mordecai. Be faithful. And know that God is always working for such a time as this.